Abobaku, born to die with the king. Episode 4. The gossip in Oyo was like a restless drum. No matter how hard you tried to silence it, it would always find a hand to strike it. When the crown was placed on the head of the youngest king the kingdom had ever seen, tongues began to beat faster than the talking drum in the Alaafin's courtyard. The nature of the whispers changed. At first, it was the usual wonder about his youth. But soon, it grew into a long rope of arguments that wound through the markets, drinking houses, and moonlit gatherings. Some elders, their faces creased like the bark of the Iroko tree, frowned in open disapproval. They muttered, "A boy may sit on the throne, but can he carry the weight of the heavens when the storm breaks?" They shook their heads as though the spirits themselves had made a mistake. Yet, not all voices spoke in doubt. Some, with clearer sight, remembered the proverb. The calabash is not judged by its size but by the sweetness of the palm wine it holds. They claimed the boy's early judgments in council bore the calm wisdom of an old river, slow to flood, steady in course. And so the kingdom was divided, between those who believed youth meant weakness and those who felt it could be a blessing the ancestors had gifted them. But in the shadows of this division stood one man who did not waste breath on idle talk, Chief Olaluf Ori, father of the young Alaafin. Before his son took the leopard skin seat, Olaluf had been a respected nobleman, his name carried on the wind with honor. Now, he was a man who lived with two hearts, one for the joy of his son's glory, and one for the dread of what the elders' council might do. For he had seen the pattern. Kings came, kings fell, and with each fall, an Abobaku was swallowed alive by the red earth. He had been there, standing close enough to hear the muffled cries before the soil silenced them. The boy kings of Oyo were never just rulers, they were lamps burning in the wind, and the wind was always near. And so, Olaluf grew watchful. He did not drink too deeply at feast. He did not speak too freely in council. He read the eyes of the other elders the way a hunter reads the tracks in the dust, searching for signs of a hidden hunt. It was not long before those same elders began to change toward him. Greetings became shorter, their kola nut invitations fewer. The men who once laughed loudly at his jokes now pressed their lips as if his words were bitter kola. The air between him and the council grew heavy. Out of this weight, he made a decision. One moonlit night, after the palace drums had quieted, Olaluf went to visit Chief Ogboko Ayanla, the father of the kings Abobaku. Ogboko was no ordinary man. His voice could still be heard above the sound of 20 drummers. He had scars on his arms from wars fought before some of the younger chiefs were born. Yet now, his greatest battle was not on the field, but in the strange bond of fate, for his son's life was tied to the king's, just as a goat is tied to the post. If the king died, his son would be buried alive. If his son was taken before the king, another life would be claimed by the gods in balance. In a twisted way, both men had become brothers in danger. Olaluf entered Ogboko's compound. The air was thick with burning shewood, the shadows of the rafters moved like slow spirits above them. They sat cross-legged on woven mats, facing each other with the unspoken understanding that neither man could trust the council to protect their blood. It was Ogboko who finally broke the silence. His voice was like dry leaves being crushed underfoot. Olaluf, my brother in faith, when the hawk and the chick are tied together by the leg, neither prays for the other to die. Olaluf nodded gravely. Indeed, Ogboko, the trap that catches the antelope may yet snare the hunter if he stands too close. They spoke long into the night, their words flowing like palm wine into the god of understanding. They spoke of the greed that had swallowed kings, of the unseen hands that poured poison into royal cups, of the graves that were dug long before death arrived. They made a pact, unspoken but sealed with the meeting of their eyes, that the lives of their sons would not be fed to the hunger of tradition without a fight. Yet, beyond the walls of Ogboko's home, other elders had already begun to weave their own net. Men whose eyes gleamed like vultures circling above carrion. Men whose smiles never reached their hearts. They whispered in corners, planting seeds of discord in the fertile soil of the people's minds. Somewhere, in the deep belly of the night, the drums of fate began to beat again. To be continued.